hope you're doing well. Today I am going to explore the possibility of using a gravel bike as a road bike. Now the reason I want to do this is because even though I do have a fair few bikes, you guys know that I'm sponsored, I do understand that not everyone gets to pick out of a fleet of different bikes every time they go for a ride, but it is fun to switch up the kind of terrain that you can use your bike on. So I thought that in the interest of research, I would see what it is like to put road wheels on my gravel bike, and that way I can have a look into whether buying one gravel bike as your main bike, a kind of do-it-all bike, would be a sound investment. So obviously there are a few key differences between a road bike and a gravel bike, even though there are some people who would have you believe that this is all a conspiracy and that gravel's all a kind of made up concept, whatever. There are differences between different bikes. To kick things off, I'm going to show you my gravel bike in road wheel mode. I've put my old road wheels off my Windy Miller onto my lovely gravel bike. So let's see what it looks like. So here we go. Here's my gravel bike in road bike mode. Does look slightly funny because you've got so much clearance there and here at the back. As you can see, I've got a 1x setup here, so just one chainring at the front, and at the back I've got my giant Eagle cassette. When it comes to tyres, I have quite literally just taken these wheels straight off my road bike, so I've got 28C slick tyres on here, and I'm going to pump them up to... what should I pump them up to? Well, normally when riding my road bike, I would pump them up to 80 PSI, although with my new special Zip 303s on my current Windy Miller, I'm running them at 50. God, this is getting confusing. But seeing as these are the old Zip 303s, I'm going to run them at 80 like I used to run them on my Windy Miller, because I think that would be a fair way of testing out this setup. Just looking out the window, it looks like the weather might be getting a bit inclement, so I'm going to hurry up now and get changed. We can get out and I will tell you more about the geometry of a gravel bike versus the geometry of a road bike, and the setup and all the pros and cons of doing something like this as we go along. So nice to be out. Well guys, I've not gone very far and already it's very obvious there's a big difference between my gravel bike and my road bike. The first thing that I've noticed is the gearing. Obviously because I'm running 1x on my gravel bike, I've got half the number of gears that I've got on my road bike, so I've got far fewer to choose from, and the jump between the different gears is more obvious. I don't find that a problem when I'm riding gravel because you're going at slightly different speeds and you don't need to optimize your cadence in quite the same way that you need to on a road bike. But I've noticed on this, oh, there's someone coming, hold on a sec, here I am, standing in the way. I also don't have as much top end speed on my gravel bike. I really noticed that when I was going down the hill out of my village. One way to get around that would be to change the cassette, but you can't actually get a cassette with a smaller cog than the one I've already got, so you would have to change the chainring at the front, which is fine if you aren't planning on switching between gravel wheels and road wheels all the time and sort of trying to double up with your gravel bike as a road bike. Anyway, I'll leave it at that for a moment. I'm going to jump on my bike. I don't know if any of that made sense. Maybe I'll try and go over that again in a minute. I'm going to do a little bit of riding and then just tell you more about the setup. It's so pretty round here. Having a great time testing out this setup. Thatched cottages, Christmas decorations, lovely pubs that I'd like to visit. Quite distracted from telling you about the setup. I'm just having a really nice ride, but let's go to this bench and I'll tell you more about what I've discovered. So obviously the first thing I noticed that I've told you about is the gearing. The second thing that's immediately obvious to me is that I've got wide handlebars on. Because it's a gravel bike, I prefer to have wide handlebars because it gives you better control, it's nice for the techie bits, that kind of thing. It's also comfortable. Thinking of this as a road bike, well, wide bars don't necessarily entirely fit. It just feels a bit different in terms of handling, and it's less aero, if that matters to you. But it's comfortable with the wide bars. The handling also feels quite different to my road bike because my road bike's got much tighter geometry. You know, it's set up for racing, so it corners a lot better. This one feels a lot longer, looser, more stable, more easy and comfortable, but also less responsive because it has got a longer wheelbase, it has got a lower bottom bracket, it's got longer chain stays. So for me, where this kind of setup would really come into its own would be for kind of more comfortable endurance long rides. For those sort of things, I wouldn't mind so much that the handling is a little less snappy because, you know, it feels super duper comfortable. I'm going to do a bit more riding. It is such a wonderful evening. I say evening, it's mid-afternoon, but the sun's nearly gone down. But I am going to do a few more laps around the lanes, and then I'll tell you a bit more about the pros and cons of using a gravel bike as a road bike or having a gravel stroke road bike as your main do-it-all bike. Riding down that on my road wheels with 28C tyres on was the best idea. It's not going to do my rims much good, but it sure was fun. It does make me think with the right balance of tyres you could just make a killer do-it-all bike, which I guess is what this video is all about. I've got my 28C road tyres on. They're not ideal for this gravelly stuff, but then my 45C gravel tyres wouldn't be great on the road. Pick something in between and you're going to have a pretty awesome do-it-all bike. I am just going to finish off the rest of my ride. It is getting dark and I want to do the last few miles, so let's catch up in a bit.
Are you back from your ride?
Yeah. I actually really enjoyed riding my gravel bike with my road wheels on, and there are many reasons why I would do it again. There are also some occasions on which I would not ride my gravel bike with road wheels on. So where do I begin? Okay, well, handling, yes, the handling is slightly different to my road bike, but you could change the contact points on your gravel bike to make it feel more kind of like a road bike. So for instance, I could put narrower bars on and I could move my saddle further forwards. I could change the length of the stem because my gravel bike feels a little bit longer, so that makes it feel a little less snappy. Obviously I can't change the actual physical geometry of the frame. That's something that I'm stuck with, but I can change the contact points and kind of make it feel slightly different in that way. So that is something to consider if you are thinking of doing this. Obviously, as I mentioned right at the start, if you're running one by on your gravel bike, then you're only going to have one by using it as a road bike, and that is a little bit limiting depending on what you want to ride. For instance, I wouldn't necessarily want to go on the club run or a chain gang or something just with one by, because I'm going to be at a serious disadvantage to all the other riders with all those different options for what gear to be in. That sort of thing is going to be a hindrance. Also the fact that I haven't got as much top end speed. When it comes to comfort, oh man, it's great. I could ride my bike like this all day long. So that is definitely a big bonus point. You know, that makes me think this would be a really good touring setup, particularly as my gravel bike has loads of rack mounts and stuff like that, whereas my road bike doesn't. The main point that I'm taking from this experiment is that the gravel bike is a really, really versatile bike, and with a few adjustments you can make it do most things pretty well. The road bike is less versatile. Obviously you can't actually get really wide gravel tyres in most road frames. There just isn't the clearance. So if you are trying to choose between a gravel bike and a road bike for something versatile that will adapt to your needs, something that you can ride on and off road, do a bit of touring, commuting, that sort of thing, then in my mind the gravel bike would be a really good buy. The more specific that you want your ride to be, you know, the more you care about, say, racing, crit racing, chain gangs and club runs, then the less suitable a gravel bike in road bike mode will be. But if you're just looking for a kind of fun bike that is going to be durable over winter, say a winter training bike or a commuter or something like that, then this is a really good setup. Now I'm going to start laughing because my little girl is jumping up and down outside the window. I wonder if she's got me something from the shop. I'm not sure, but anyway, I'm going to say goodbye because she's so cute and jumping up and down and she wants to come in. So thanks for watching. I hope you got some sense out of all of this that I've been saying. Oh my goodness! Oh, thank you. So I will say goodbye. Thanks for watching. I'm going to open